uses a cane who's in his own home.
A new report says abortion providers have been routinely targeted in 6 states and require further government protection. The Center for Reproductive Rights says clinics and doctors in Mississippi, North Dakota, Missouri, Alabama, Pennsylvania, and Texas face worrying levels of harassment. Nationwide, the group says the number of physicians and clinics providing abortions has dropped 25% over the last decade. The study was completed before the May killing of the Kansas-based abortion provider, Dr. George Tiller, whose clinic subsequently closed. Meanwhile, in Ohio, a Republican legislator has submitted a measure that would prevent abortions without the written consent of the biological father. If the father isn't known, the measure would force the woman to provide a list of people who could be the father in order to determine paternity. The group, Feminists for Choice, calls the proposal, quote, another mechanism for demonizing and isolating women who have sex. Consumer advocates are criticizing 2 recent choices for top food and agricultural positions. The Organic Consumers Association is calling for the resignation of Michael Taylor, a former Monsanto lobbyist who's been appointed senior food safety advisor to the Food and Drug Administration commissioner. The group says Taylor has pushed to weaken testing and labeling for genetically modified foods. It's also opposing President Obama's apparent choice for Undersecretary of Agriculture for Food Safety, Dennis Wolf, who's also been accused of trying to reduce the labeling of GMOs. In media news, Michigan's Ann Arbor News has published its final edition. The newspaper has been replaced by the website annarbor.com, and a newspaper that will come out only 2 days a week. The Ann Arbor News had been a daily newspaper for the past 174 years. The investment bank Goldman Sachs has completed its repayment of federal bailout money. Goldman has paid back $1.1 billion to redeem warrants it granted the Treasury in return for taxpayer aid. The move follows Goldman's repayment of $10 billion last month, freeing itself from government restrictions on employee compensation. And a rise in the minimum wage takes effect today, increasing to $7.25 an hour from $6.55 an hour. The Let Justice Roll Living Wage campaign says today's rate is still lower than the 1956 minimum wage of $7.93 in real terms. The group is calling for a $10 minimum wage to surpass the highest level of purchasing power of $9.92 adjusted for inflation seen in 1968. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.